Hi friends, Dr. SilverHealth here. I'm 62 now, a geriatric physician in the US, and I've spent more than 3 decades walking alongside patients over 50. At this age, I've learned a simple truth that took me a long time to really feel. A good night's sleep doesn't start on the pillow, it starts on the fruit plate in the late afternoon. There are nights when you do everything right. Early dinner, TV off, lights low, and still at 2 a.m., then again at 3:30, your bladder taps you on the shoulder like a polite but persistent knock at the door. Past 60, the body gets refined. The kidneys idle lower at night, the bladder gets a little jumpier, and whether something is soothing or irritating to that bladder lining suddenly matters. A slice of orange at 8 p.m. is not the same as a slice at 1 p.m. Same fruit, different acid load, different water content, different timing, and it can be the difference between 6 straight hours or waking every 90 minutes. Tonight I want to sit with you like an old friend. No lectures, no big words, and talk about 7 fruits worth keeping close, 7 to gently set aside after dusk, and why simply changing the what and the when for 3 days can make the morning feel kinder. I want to begin with a fruit that looks bold on the outside but is gentle by nature, dragon fruit. Many of my patients over 60 like it because it's polite. Low acid, mild in aroma, easy on the stomach. I often tell them, think of dragon fruit as a friend who listens well. Its light sweetness and just right soluble fiber help the bowels move smoothly without making a fuss. So when you lie down, your lower belly isn't grumbling and pressing on the bladder. I like to suggest half a fruit in the late afternoon, at room temperature. No ice, no salt, just simple and unhurried. A 68-year-old aunt once told me she slices dragon fruit into small cubes every afternoon, sits on the porch and eats while the radio plays. That tiny ritual alone eased those pesky gotta-go urges before bedtime, like waves quietly drawing back. I believe our bodies understand the kindness in habits like that. From dragon fruit, let's move to pears. Sweet, cool, and understated. Pears don't try to impress you with big perfume. They show up calmly, low in acid, with a touch of natural sorbitol that keeps the bowels regular. After 60, regularity isn't just about comfort. It literally reduces pressure on the bladder. I remember Robert, 72, wary of anything chilly to the gut. After a mid-afternoon pear, washed and eaten with the peel, he told me his lower belly felt lighter, and by bedtime the little stings of discomfort were gone. Pears are like a quiet conversation. No speeches, no fireworks, just that lingering sense of ease when it's over. If you're cautious, slice thin, chew slowly, and feel the crisp turn tender. That slower rhythm settles the nerves, and a settled nervous system makes a calmer bladder. A cousin of the pear in its gentleness is cantaloupe. Not too sweet, never harsh, cantaloupe has a way of lowering the day's volume in the late afternoon. I often recommend it at lunch or before 5 p.m. A small bowl is plenty. At that hour, cantaloupe is like a soft breeze through the house, refreshing but not so watery that the bladder gets bossy after dark. One older couple asked me to tune up their afternoon menu. We swapped a rich dairy dessert for a few slices of cantaloupe, not ice cold, and they noticed their nights felt smoother. What I love about cantaloupe is the balance. Enough fluid to feel cared for, enough minerals to relax smooth muscle, without spilling into nighttime so long as we give it the right spot on the clock. If cantaloupe is a cool breeze, guava is the shade tree out back, plain, steady, and reliable. Guava carries plenty of vitamin C, but with less citric acid than the citrus family, so it's kinder to a sensitive bladder in the evening. I like recommending a medium fruit with a gentle bite around 4 p.m. Peel thinly if the skin is thick. Keep it simple. Guava has a certain honesty. Not flashy, not water-heavy, not irritating. Because of that, many folks enjoy a quiet night afterward. Don't turn guava into a circus. No chili salt dips, no deep chill. After 60, the body doesn't love stunts. Let the fruit speak in its own voice, And you'll notice your bladder learning that patience too. Speaking of a calm lower belly, I can't skip papaya, sunset-colored and easygoing. The enzyme papain isn't magic, but it's enough to help your dinner pass through without drama. When the gut isn't noisy, the bladder isn't crowded. When digestion isn't tangled, the nerves stop sending mixed signals. I suggest about 150 grams, a modest bowl, 1 hour after dinner at room temperature. Papaya feels warm-natured, like a light blanket over the stomach. It reassures the body that work is happening, but gently. Linda, 66, used to fear all evening fruit because of nighttime trips. She tried the papaya plan 3 nights in a row and slept nearly 6 hours straight for the first time in months. I don't know why, she said. I just feel soothed. Sometimes soothed is the best evidence we get, and bananas, our old friend, are. To me, a yardstick of calm, low acid and rich in potassium. Bananas are something the bladder's smooth muscle tends to like in modest amounts. 1 ripe, not overripe, room temperature banana at about 5 p.m. or an hour after dinner tells the body, we're going to take it slow tonight. The key is ripeness, right on time, not past it, so a sensitive stomach doesn't push back. Many patients thought bananas belonged only to breakfast, but when they moved one to late afternoon, they were surprised by fewer nighttime interruptions. A banana is a quiet nudge. No rushing, no records to break. Let's keep it easy. Finally, let's talk about watermelon, a fruit people often misunderstand. Most see the water and think, well, there goes my night. The real issue isn't the fruit, it's the timing. Watermelon is an invitation from the morning and early afternoon, not from late evening. When you eat it at the right time, before 2 p.m., a small bowl, 150-200 grams, by itself, no dairy, no fruit medleys. It can feel like a gentle rinse for the urinary tract, thanks to fluid and lycopene, in sync with the body's daytime rhythm. But bring it into prime time and the body usually hears a different message. Get up and go. I once helped a 70-year-old gentleman shift his watermelon from 8 p.m. to 11 a.m. Within 3 days, his wake-ups dropped from 3 to 1. Often, the win isn't about adding more. It's about moving things to where they belong. 7 fruits. 7 personalities. 1 shared key, timing. After 60, the body doesn't like being startled. It wants cadence. Dragon fruit, pear, guava, papaya, banana. These bladder-friendly fruits play nicely with late afternoon and the early evening, if you give them at least a 2-hour runway before bed and keep them at room temperature. Cantaloupe and watermelon, the bring-the-water fruits, prefer daylight so the urinary system can readjust before night falls. It sounds fussy, but it's everyday wisdom. Check the clock, listen to your belly, and treat your body the way an old friend would, with unhurried kindness. I'm a believer in a small pre-dusk ritual. Rinse a guava and let it dry on a towel. Fan a few slices of cantaloupe on a plate. Halve a dragon fruit and scoop it with a teaspoon. These slow motions send a reassuring message to the nervous system. There's nothing to worry about. A calmer nervous system means a less jumpy bladder. A less jumpy bladder means a more continuous night's sleep. At 62, I've learned that big improvements usually start with tiny, tender gestures. People ask, do I have to eat all 7 each week? Not at all. Don't turn yourself into a student of a rigid syllabus. Pick 3 or 4 that your body and taste buds truly like. This week, banana, papaya, pear. Next week, guava, dragon fruit, cantaloupe. Save watermelon for sunny, leisurely lunches. Give your body time to receive and respond. Don't make it perform. Your job isn't to maximize variety, it's to tune your rhythm. And keep a few simple rules that are small but golden. Don't pile fruit on top of dinner. Let the meal take its full journey. Then let the fruit come in later as a soft encore. Don't eat fruit straight from the fridge. Bring it back to room temperature, like a warm handshake instead of a cold elbow bump. Most of all, avoid fruit within 2 hours of bedtime. And that gap is a gift you give yourself for a quieter night. If you need a starter plan for today, Here's what I often suggest. 1 ripe banana at 5 p.m. or 150 grams of papaya an hour after dinner, or 1 washed pear with peel in late afternoon. If it's a sunny day, reserve a small bowl of watermelon for 11 a.m. If you want something bright but not loud, try a few slices of cantaloupe before 5 p.m. Let guava and dragon fruit take turns through the week. Small portions, steady signals of calm, no boredom, no drama. I've watched many older faces brighten after just 3 nights, simply by removing 1 acidic evening fruit and inviting in a quiet one at dusk. There's no miracle here, only the consistency of choices that make sense. Your body is still trying to protect you. It's just speaking softly now. When you lean in and listen, it thanks you with longer stretches of sleep and clearer mornings. Remember, fruit isn't only nutrition. Past 60, fruit is timing. When the timing of your fruit matches the timing of you, sleep slips into place like a perfect puzzle piece. Dragon fruit that listens, pears that don't brag, cantaloupe that balances, guava that's honest, papaya that warms, bananas that reassure, and watermelon that brightens the day. Each has a voice. Together they point towards something beautifully simple. May your night be quiet, and quiet at our age is the finest gift of all. When night settles in, the body wants to dim the lights and speak softly. After 60, everything runs on a finer rhythm. Digestion slows, the nerves listen closer, the bladder stands guard. That's why some fruits, perfectly good in daylight, turn into late-night party guests after dark. They don't mean harm. They just show up at the wrong hour. I'm not here to villainize any fruit. I'm here to help you draw kind boundaries, what belongs at noon and what should politely say goodnight before the lamp does. Let me start with raisins. Tiny, sweet, and surprisingly loud. I appreciate concentration at my age, but a concentrated dose of sugar pulls water into the gut by osmosis. That shift nudges the body to move fluids around, and once you lie down, the bladder notices. Knock, knock. Time to get up. Raisins can also ferment a bit late at night, causing gas and gentle abdominal pressure that pushes on the bladder and triggers false alarms. Doris, 70, loved a small handful before her evening shows. Tiny but fun, she'd say. We didn't cancel her fun. We moved it. Raisins joined breakfast, just a few pieces with warm water. 3 nights later, she laughed. The show is still great. And the bathroom stopped inviting me. That wasn't a win against raisins, it was a win for timing. From raisins, let's wander to raw tomatoes, a fruit most of us treat like a vegetable, especially in dinner salads. Tomatoes are gorgeous in daylight, but after dusk, their oxalic acid can feel like a row of little pins along a bladder lining that's already sensitive. Not everyone feels it, but many over 60 do. One couple showed me their jewel-bright tomato-onion salad. I didn't ask them to give up the red. I asked them to soften it. Let the tomatoes simmer in a stew or sauce so the acid dilutes into warmth. The flavor stayed. The pins dulled. Their nights grew quieter. Night, in my experience, prefers food that's been gently cooked both in the pot and in the heart. Another evening, regular arrives wearing a shiny glass. Mixed citrus juices, orange, sweet lime, maybe a splash of lemon or even kiwi. We all love the clean and light feeling after dinner. But juice is a fast elevator for acid and sugar, faster than the whole fruit. For a mature bladder, speed can sound like an alarm. I've met many folks who are sure juice is healthier, then puzzled by their nightly sprints. When we move those juices to lunchtime, better yet before 2 p.m., the difference flipped like a switch. There's nothing wrong with juice. Night just doesn't like rush hour. Night prefers country roads, slow, unhurried, with time for the body to greet each cell along the way. Now about pineapple, a tropical smile in fruit form. Bromelain helps digest protein, which is wonderful in the daytime. But at night, pineapple can act like a cheerful MC revving up bowel activity just when you're horizontal. A lively intestine sits right next to a vigilant bladder. The chatter crosses over, and you get the urge even when you're barely half full. People often mistake that for aging weakness, but it's mostly neighboring organs talking over each other. Move pineapple to midday, maybe with a pinch of mineral salt and a warm drink, and the MC performs on the right stage. Picture night as a little chapel. We keep the fiery speeches for noon. Then there's the sunny duo, oranges and sweet lime, Mazambi. In daylight, their tang tastes like fresh air. After sunset, their citric acid lowers urine pH and turns a gentle stream into something a bit scratchy. A post-60 bladder is not a thick clay pot. It's a fine porcelain cup. Lovely, but it rings if you tap it. I tell my patients, love oranges and Mosambi the way you love the sun. Meet them while the sun is still up. A small glass at lunch, or a fruit in early afternoon, lets you enjoy the refreshment without owing the night anything. And if you truly crave that citrus note after dinner, warm water with just a hint of lemon for fragrance, not a full squeeze, often satisfies. Night needs aroma, not acidity. Speaking of aroma, it's hard to skip kiwi, a chic, tangy little thing many adore. In the sun, kiwi sings vitamins, fiber, that elegant tartness. At night, the same tartness tugs on the bladder's attention. Maria, 65, swore by kiwi for her skin and swore it had to be an evening ritual. We made a small pact, 10 days with kiwi outside of nighttime. She called back, smiling, "My skin's still happy, and now my nights are too." Night deserves a little makeup as well, but its favorite shade is quiet. Kiwi belongs under daylight. Finally, a word about fresh grapes, those tiny gems that look so harmless. They're happy companions for a picnic basket. They do less charming work in a cold bowl at 9 p.m. Natural sugars plus slightly tougher skins can mean a little fermentation, a little gas, a little bloat. And as you now know, it doesn't take much pressure to nudge the bladder into a red alert. One of my uncles loved to pluck cold grapes from the fridge before baseball. We didn't take away his game snacks. We moved them to the balcony at 10 a.m., room temperature, one grape at a time with sips of warm water. The inning stayed exciting. The night at last stayed calm. Sometimes solving sleep begins with closing the fridge at the right hour. 7 names, 7 stories, and they all collapse into one idea. Right time. Night doesn't forbid fruit. Night asks for good manners. If evening is a soft jazz set, let the sharp, sour, or concentrated notes play at noon, when the stomach is a bright, open stage. And to keep that jazz smooth, remember a few tiny golden details. First, skip the deep chill. The colder the fruit, the more your gut clenches and the more your nervous system wonders what's wrong, especially after 60. Room temperature is the kindest invitation to your nighttime digestion. Cold fruit is a greeting with an elbow. Polite but not warm. Second, don't stack fruit on top of dinner. Let the meal take its bow first. When rice and fish and greens are already on stage, adding fruit is like sending new dancers into a crowded set. Fermentation, gas, mixed signals. Your body answers with fake alarms, heaviness, urgency, restlessness. Think of a party where too many guests arrive at once. Nobody gets true attention. Third, give yourself a buffer. I like at least 2 hours between your last bite of fruit and your pillow. That stretch lets the gut coast down the hill and the bladder hear cleaner signals, not noise. And please don't try to be perfect by tonight. Bodies love small, steady change. Pick the 2 evening culprits you lean on the most, maybe that gorgeous orange-lemon blend and the frosty bowl of grapes, and sign a 3-day treaty with yourself. Move both to before 2 p.m. In their place, try warm water, or if your belly agrees, a gentle pair in late afternoon. Keep the abdomen quiet before sleep. On day 4, you won't need my report. Your bladder will file its own, either at 3 a.m. or with luck, not at all. Someone always asks, "Doc, what about social nights? Wine, a few grapes. How do I avoid that?" I smile. We're people, not machines. Choose your battles. If you have an exception, pay it back in the morning. Warm water, a light walk, a simple breakfast. The next afternoon, return to rhythm. Night isn't asking for strictness, it's asking for honesty. Be honest with your body, and it will forgive the occasional flourish. By now you can see the point. We're not banning oranges, kiwi, pineapple, grapes, raisins, citrus blends, or raw tomatoes. We're learning to say goodbye at the right time. Save oranges for noon sun, kiwi for a bright afternoon, pineapple for the middle of the day. Sprinkle raisins over breakfast, pack grapes for a picnic. If you love tomatoes, let them simmer into dinner, not sit raw beside it. You're not giving up joy. You're delivering joy to the right address. In clinic, I joke that I don't just prescribe pills, I prescribe time. For folks over 50, time is powerful medicine. A fruit at the right hour is a capsule without a label. A fruit at the wrong hour is a midnight alarm. You get to choose which bell rings in your home. So tonight, before you close the day, take a short walk to the kitchen. Open the fridge and scan the fruit shelf. If a tall glass of orange lemon is waiting, move it to tomorrow. If a frosty cluster of grapes is winking, let them sleep when you do. If a tomato salad is set, give it a small vacation in a warm pan. Olive oil, a few basil leaves, and keep the aroma while kindness melts the edges. Pour yourself warm water and walk slowly back to your room. Let your bladder hear the message. Nothing urgent tonight. Caring for health at this age is like tending a garden at dusk. We don't drench the soil. We pluck a dry leaf, pivot the pot to catch the last light and whisper, rest. Fruit is no different. We're not denying its beauty. We're just turning the pot, turning the hour so each piece stands in its best light. When you do that, night thanks you with long, quiet stretches, and morning repays you with a lighter body, a clearer mind, and a small, private smile. So yes, tonight we gently walk kiwi, pineapple, grapes, raisins, oranges, sweet lime, mixed citrus juices, and raw tomatoes off the evening stage. No hard feelings, just a better curtain time. Treat the night kindly, and the night will treat you kindly right back. That simple exchange is a gift each of us deserves every day. Past 60, the body doesn't shout, it whispers. It says, don't give me more, give me the right things at the right time. Fruit isn't the villain here. It just has its own clock. Some pieces belong to the sunlight. Others belong to the soft, late afternoon hush. Give oranges, pineapple, kiwi, and citrus blends to the day. Invite bananas, pears, papaya, guava, and when it fits, dragon fruit, into the early evening with a respectful space before bed. Keep the watery ones like watermelon and cantaloupe in the bright hours so your bladder can settle before night. Try it for 3 days. Move the acidic high-water fruits to before 2 p.m. Let a quiet fruit sit gently in the late afternoon. Don't stack fruit on top of dinner. Keep it at room temperature, and give yourself a simple 2-hour runway before your head meets the pillow. You don't need a new identity, a strict program, or a miracle supplement. Just a small, honest shift in when and what you eat. I've watched so many faces soften after a few nights. Less edge, more light, simply because they honored the body's timing. Your body is still on your side. It's just speaking a softer language now. When you lean in and listen, it says thank you with longer stretches of sleep, steadier mornings, and a clearer mind. So tonight, treat your evening like a quiet porch. Let the loud flavors wait for tomorrow's sun. Choose something gentle. Pour a cup of warm water. Walk to your room a little slower. Tell your bladder without words, nothing urgent tonight. Health at our age is like tending a garden at dusk. We don't flood the soil. We turn the pot toward the last light and whisper, rest. Do the same with your plate. Turn the hour. Let each fruit stand in its best light. And when you wake after a smooth, unbroken night, take a breath and smile, because that piece was a gift you gave yourself.